Hello and welcome to the Not Ready for Primetime podcast. We're Gary Seath and Brad Robinson.
And you're not.
Welcome to Season 2.
Season 2, baby!
This is our Season 2 preview show. Brad?
Gary?
I'm excited for Season 2.
Long time no see.
Yeah. How have you been? How was your break?
Yeah, it was only like yesterday, I feel like we just ended Season 1. I'm good. I'm refreshed. I can't wait to dive back in.
Good. Me neither. Season 2 is going to be a lot of fun. I feel like they were really hitting their stride at the end of Season 1, and hopefully that carries through.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not a lot of changes from Season 1 to Season 2. I mean, Chevy's still with them, as we know, not for very long, but at least Chevy does start the season with them. There's a new writer at the beginning of Season 2. Yeah. Bruce McCall is his name. He's a Lampoon writer, was brought in by Michael O'Donoghue, who only lasts about 6 episodes and doesn't contribute a whole lot. But, the big change comes, midway through. Chevy does leave, as we all know, and Bill Murray replaces him. And that's kind of the big change. And the other change, which I don't know if people are aware of, is the same time Bill Murray starts, another new writer, Jim Downey, joins the writing staff.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to see the beginnings of Jim Downey on the show.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm actually really excited about for Season 2. Yeah.
Early seasons, Jim Downey, I'm excited.
Yeah. How that's going to play out and how noticeable it is.
Yeah.
As well as the debut of Bill Murray to the cast.
Yeah.
I'm also curious to see with that, the shift in the dynamics of the cast.
Yeah.
And how that goes.
Well, we said at the end of last season, they win the Emmys and some renegotiations happen. And so everybody's making a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Some people like Lauren are making a lot more money.
A lot more money.
But yeah, that's there. The cast is starting to find their voices. And, the big storyline, Chevy's out, Bill is in. So how does that shift and dynamic work? But in the interim, because, Bill Murray doesn't come the week after Chevy leaves, there is a gap.
Right.
So I'm interested to watch, in sort of real time, how John and Gilda kind of both step up and get bigger voices and become kind of bigger stars in their own right, both with Chevy and Billy, but especially in between that break when neither one of them are there. And Jane, with Chevy leaving, Jane Curtin takes over Weekend Update, and interested to see how that starts. We know what she becomes. I'm interested to see her first few turns behind the desk.
Yeah, it should be interesting because the Weekend Update is so much Chevy's voice because it's just him. And how does that change when Jane takes over?
Yeah. I mean, she's so good, as we've said repeatedly.
And we'll continue to say that's not going away anytime soon.
And I'm also looking forward to sets.
Yeah,
new sets. The show should have all this new money and bigger budgets. I am so excited to actually see different sets and variety of sets.
Not everything on home base anymore. That's what you want.
Or the same living room set, or little thing.
Yeah. There's one other change that happens this season that's kind of, I don't know if it flies under the radar really, but they start using the name Saturday Night Live.
Oh, right. Yeah. Near the end of the season. Yeah. The ABC Howard Cosell show has gone off the air. And one of the reasons why you're able to get Bill Murray, because he's no longer on that show.
Right.
And then they take the name over. Yeah, it's a good call. And there's a few, I'd say, kind of smaller things to keep your eye out for. One, I'm excited to see the 76 presidential campaign. This is going to be the first time the show has a presidential campaign they're going after. We've seen them pick on Ford and a little bit of Carter at the end of season 1, but to really see a presidential campaign and what the show does, excited to see that.
That'll be fun to watch kind of, as it happens in real time, knowing what the outcome is, but seeing what the perception was of the candidates beforehand.
That's going to be the interesting. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
We get a primetime special and Mardi Gras.
Yes.
That's a train wreck, which I'm not going to be drinking for.
You say that now.
I do. I mean, not more than usual. I'll be drinking and just not more than normal. Not at Christopherson levels.
We also get a handful of shows that take place in Brooklyn, right? They record in Brooklyn.
They do 3 episodes 4, 5, and 6. Karen Black, Steve Martin, and Buck Henry. Due to that 76 presidential campaign, the studio is being used for campaign coverage.
Yeah.
And so they had to go to Brooklyn for a couple of shows. So that'll be interesting to watch. Yeah.
That's kind of interesting to think about too, right? Like the show is so young still that NBC News is like, we need this space. Get out of here. Find someplace else to go.
They're not that successful yet where they can still get transplant. Yeah. And there's also, it's a very interesting time in the show, I think, behind the scenes. And we'll get into a little bit, I'm sure, when they move to Brooklyn and the cast and just their dealings and some of the issues they had to deal with start to become more prevalent during that time. So yeah, that'll be end of October into November, 3 episodes.
That'll be fun. And then we come back with a whole new lineup of hosts. Well, not a whole new lineup, but we get...
not a whole new, but yeah, enough.
We get some repeat hosts, Lily Tomlin, Buck Henry, Dick Cavett, Elliot Gould, Paul Simon, all come back.
Candace Bergen.
As return hosts. Oh, Candace Bergen. Yes, I knew I forgot someone.
And Buck Henry's on twice.
Buck Henry's on twice. Some of the new hosts we get come on twice. Steve Martin is on twice. Eric Idle's on twice.
Well, let's not brush over the fact we get Steve Martin and Eric Idle. I mean, that alone is exciting.
That's huge. Both of them. Both of those guests, I think, especially for this show, Eric Idle is a huge get.
Huge. Well, we said it last year in the Cook and More episode. They wanted Python, they couldn't get them, so they settled. And now we get, early in season 2, we get Eric Idle, and then we get him a second time. We get him twice, and he shows up in Mardi Gras. They can't get rid of him this year. And as you just said, Steve Martin hosts twice, Eric Idle hosts twice. All those repeat hosts. By the end of the season, there are only 13 first-time hosts this season, so it's just over half. Our first time host. They've either came back from last season or, 2 guys that do double duty this year.
That's remarkable.
I know. It's
And we have some hosts of note here that are different. We have Jodie Foster, who's
a young
Jodie Foster when she hosts. Yeah. That's our first child host. We get Fran Tarkenton. NFL quarterback Fran Tarkenton comes on to host. And then we get some other folks like Ralph Nader hosts. So it's still like an interesting, eclectic mix of people that come on to host the show.
It's a great mix of old reliables, of new people you couldn't wait to get, like Eric Idle and Steve Martin. Then you said it's a couple random people. You're like, where do they come from? How do they fit in? And I can't wait to see how they fit in. Are
there any hosts you're particularly looking forward to?
I'm excited to see Steve Martin's first, because I everyone knows the Hall of Fame Steve Martin, the big sketches, the Fest Drunk Brothers, the King Tuts. And I'm excited to watch Steve's first episode and see how he comes out the gate. And Eric Idle, I think, Python is so influenced the show. And I think it's something they've all looked up for, to really see what they can do when they get somebody like Eric Idle. I feel like he's very much in the mold of a Elliot Gould, Buck Henry, Lily Tomlin, where somebody who can bring the goods, even if the cast isn't, or the writing isn't bringing everything, the host can bring something or just help elevate. I think he's one of those that just fits seamlessly into this show. So I'm excited. They're probably the two of all the new ones. They're the two I'm excited. I'm more excited for the musical guests this year. We're finally getting contemporary bands that are popular now and have hit songs now. That's
that probably aren't going to play 1930s covers.
You might get 1 or 2, but who knows?
Is Leon Redbone on this season? I forget.
Yeah, now he's season 3.
Who are you looking forward to as far as musical guests then?
For me, it's the band. I mean, they're my favorite group of all time. So I'm excited to see the band. Along those lines, we get Levon Helm, who actually, other than Paul Simon, is the only repeat. We have all these repeat hosts. There's only 2 by the end of the season, 2 repeat musical guests. But then again, when you think back to season 1, how many of those guests are you really going to have back on season 2? But the band and Levon Helm. Frank Zappa would be interesting, of course. And I'm excited to see Joe Cocker, because there's a Belushi bit that I love to see. So those are mine. How about you?
The Kinks. They're on one of the Steve Martin episodes. I'm excited about that. Chuck Berry, I'm kind of interested to see what he brings to the show.
Speaking of people past their prime.
Yeah. But then, Tom Waits is on. And kind of, it is his prime at this point, I think. I'm interested. George Harrison shows up this season.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, Frank Zappa and the Kinks are the 2 that I'm really excited to see.
And I'm excited to see all these acts we said, the musical guests, the host, but just how the show is continuing to evolve. By the end of season 1, they haven't found the formula yet. They're getting there, and they're getting much closer, but they're still experimenting. They're still trying. So I'm excited to see them continue to try and they're obviously a success, but they're not season 3, season 4 success yet. So, season 2, I think, is the last season where they're really experimental, where they still do really try things. By season 3, they're kind of almost at that apex where they're not taking as many risks and they're not rolling the dice as much. So I think it's gonna be fun to watch another season of them experimenting and having fun, which of course will probably mean, a good chance of bombs and stinkers here and there, but they're taking the risk. They're taking those swings, which are always fun to watch on the show.
I'm excited to see the evolution of the writing still and how that progresses now that they're a little more sure of themselves after an Emmy win.
Yeah. I mean, you got confidence. You got, of course, all that's, you've got it under your belt. You know what you're doing. You're not writing sketches for TV for the first time. You've done it for 5-6 months. And so.
Well, we've been at this for 5 or 6 months and we know what we're doing now. And luckily that means
it's like smooth sailing over here, everybody.
That means we have a lineup of guests for our podcast this year.
Go figure.
Which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, we've got a great group of returning guests. Some of your favorites from last season. John Snyder from the Saturday Night Network will be with us. Thomas Senna from the SNL Hall of Fame is back. And Andy Hoagland. So some favorites returning, as well as some new guests. We have Walter Williams. The name doesn't ring a bell. Walter Williams is the creator of Mr. Bill. He'll join us this season. Authors Doug Hill and Jeff Weingrad, who literally wrote the book on Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night, A Backstage History of SNL. They'll be with us for an episode. Season 2 cast member Bill Murray will be with us. Dennis Perrin, the author of...
Wait.
Yeah, Dennis Perrin. He wrote the book
Dennis
on
Perrin.
Michael O'Donoghue called Mr. Mike. And Dennis will be with us for episode 1 next week.
So wait, you glossed over season 2 cast member?
Yeah, Bill Murray.
You've been talking to Bill Murray about... Yeah?
Yeah.
And he's penciled in
He said he'd do
to an episode?
He said he'd do it.
All right. Well, I'm excited. That'll be fun.
It's going to be good. There's a lot to get into this season. It's going to be fun.
There's a lot. Well, we're going to kick it all off next week with Dennis Perrin talking about season 2, episode 1 with host Lily Tomlin and musical guest James Taylor. So until then, good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.